Thing here on the website we call Twitch. I am the Broken Bottle Boy. You can follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy. Also on TikTok at Useless Conquest if you so wish. Today is a 4-paper show, but we're going to be rattling through it as person in the room has a meeting at 2 o'clock. So that is a hard out at 2. Can we do 4 papers in that time? Of course we can. We're going to be starting with a speed run through the Sun, 2 minutes of hate, as it were, before moving on to the Times, the Daily Mail, and the Guardian. How do, Pablo Bonzo? Good to see you. How's it going today? Sunny and hot as hell here, so I have the door open. If you can hear noise from the outside, that's why. It's too hot to close the door. If I close the door again, I will melt into a small puddle, as I did yesterday. So yes, going to start with the Sun on a speed run. Let's do it. Let's set the timer. Hey Google, set timer for 2 minutes.
Sure, 2 minutes. Starting now.
Okay, front page of the Sun. Strictly's new pro is pole dancer. Pole dancing is pretty par for the course now, isn't it? A really disturbing story. Apparently, a Premiership footballer has been arrested on suspicion of child sex offences. The Sun claims it as an exclusive, but it's reported in other papers too. And Jeremy Clarkson claims he was nearly killed by a caravan. Main story is the Sun once again obsessing about Harry and Meghan. Harry book stuns royals. Tell-all deal done. Palace blindsided inside the paper. On page 3, that isn't page 3, Paddy Norby, the model, is now engaged to a Real Madrid footballer. Picture of her in her swimming costume. Harry's been writing secret book for a year, is the story on page 5. On pages 6 and 7, Boris brings in vaccine passports in shock U-turn. I don't think it's a shock to any of the rest of us who've seen him U-turn all year. On pages 8 and 9, pings can only get better. Charles says he's not going to wear a mask. On page 11, Strictly gets the greatest dancer. Strictly Come Dancing is Grand Rush new pro, is a dance competition winner, formerly mentored by show favourite Oti Mabuse. On page 13, Pretty Under Pressure as record number of migrants land after crossing Channel. The Sun have got pictures of them. Choose a ridiculous. Do the right ping is a good pun, to be fair. Yeah, Clemmy Moody says kids get jabbed so they can get their livelihoods back. And then there's childhoods back, sorry. And then there's another gratuitous picture of the Olympians wearing underwear. Uncanny similarities between Brit singer and US sport agent. More coverage of Adele having a new boyfriend. 31 degrees C brings heat alert. Katie told to hop it. Katie Hobson is booted out of Australia after bragging about breaking hotel quarantine rules. The Sun can shut up about this because it used to be a place that allowed her as a columnist and published her cockroach story. Nelly the elephant, an elephant getting its nails done. Only Dan Buster pilot left, dies at age 100. Isle Jack on coke and Valium. Jack Fincham denies drug driving. The day Clarkson was almost killed by his arch nemesis, the caravan. In the TV reviews, Taken hunting the sex traffickers. Yeah, it was always I was talking too much there. Oh right, got it. Shut up. Right, in Dear Deirdre, Mum caught me in bed with my cousin. Probably, if you've got that issue, not the best place to write into is Dear Deirdre. In Fab Daily, dirty face clothes, smelly PE kits. Why can't you Brits be cleaner? Israeli-born mum Ingbal Honigman on grubby UK parents. I grimaced as my friend wiped her kids' mouths with a wet flannel, then asked if I'd like her to clean my children's. We were visiting for tea, and although it was kind of my pal to help, the thought of that germ-ridden, bacteria-breeding cloth near my kids made me shudder. Kids shouldn't be totally protected from bacteria. It ends up making them more sick in the end. Frage's fuckface says incest comes up a lot in Dear Deirdre. Yeah, because I think when they write the letters themselves, they look at the Pornhub trending topics. Also in Fab Daily, we save thousands on designer kit for our chic homes. Well, good for you. The Batch Lady gives a recipe for currywurst. I do like currywurst. In the £50 letter, Scott Yetton of Popworth Everard in Cambridgeshire writes, PM Boris Johnson and Chancellor Rishi Sunak should be ashamed. They thought they could get away with using a little publicised VIP scheme, blah, blah, blah. This is made up. Another letter written by people in the Sun office. Pablo Bonzo says, Nelly the elephant, that has to be pure filler. As I wager elephants get that done regularly. Great pun, though, yeah. Trying to sell you an expensive shower, a thing for hoovering your car. And in the sport, race row. It's war on the track, but F1 unites against sick abuse. And Olympic pings. GB athletes so unhappy about games nightmare. So that's the Sun for today. It's a classic minus, classic negative nice for me, the minus 69. Right, we're going to do the Times next, then the Guardian, and we will end on the Daily Mail. So that is our show today. Good afternoon, Slickamar. That is it is a very punchable background, isn't it? I recommend reading today's newsletter, even if you hate Farage. In fact, especially if you hate Farage. Right, I mean, I hate Farage. What reasonable person doesn't? Right, okay, let's move on to the Times. Too many ping pongs. Gone too fast, says Feston Choi. Agreed. Use of weapons finds Farage rather erotic. Best write into Dear Deirdre about that. Right. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to move the microphone a little bit. Am I? No. No, I'm not. I thought I was, but I'm not. Right. Let me just do... Whoop. Okay, here we go. The Times, front page of the Times. Raving with strangers. I partied on Freedom Day. And would you pay £1,500 not to sweat? No, I wouldn't, because sweating is a natural process, unless, of course, you are Prince Andrew. Top of the page on the Times, rising national insurance to pay for social care reforms. Well, what other... I saw a really annoying journalist tweet about this earlier going, oh, I can't believe they're taxing non-pensioners to ease the burden on pensioners. You know, that they've done that deliberately, fuckwit, because they know the pensioners will vote for them. Talk Radio, GB News and the BBC seem to love Farage. They do. Main story on in the paper today. No jab means no entry, Johnson warns the young. This notion that young people don't want to get jabbed is a fallacy. And on the right-hand side of the page, Harry to tell whole truth in memoir. Them just following the same story as the Sun. On page 3, Pepper gives US children British accents. The claim is that American children who have watched a lot of Peppa Pig are now talking like British children. I think this is absolute horseshit, frankly. Oh, hang on. Wrong picture. Hang on, I'll get you the right one. Doop, doop, doop. Thank you. Yeah, you'll have seen the wrong Sun picture as well. Here is the correct Sun picture. Oh. Rotate. I'm going to tell you the sweat story in a minute. We haven't reached the sweat story in that paper. There's the Sun picture headline for today. It was the wrong one on it earlier. Now let's move on to the Times. Oh, for God's sake, it's so annoying. Whoop. Right, there is the Times. Right, front page of the Times, as I just said. Harry to tell whole truth in memoir. Yeah, so inside, yeah, great to know that American toddlers are now demanding smack bar and pee wet for their snack time. That's not true. Neither, I think, is this notion that US children have been given British accents by watching Peppa Pig. On page 4, unions poised to dismiss offer of 3% pay rise for NHS workers, as well they should. Heatwave warning as Britain's head to beach. Fears that pandemic will hit rubbish collections yet. They cannot get away with pandemic, could they? Pablo Bonzo says that the Royals are stunned with the Harry story because they had no idea he was literate. He is actually working with a ghostwriter. I think we'll get to that in a minute. Quentin Letts is awful. Nation can't shut down to save lives of elderly. PM told aides. That's ahead of the BBC's Laura Koonsberg interview with with Dominic Cummings. Sorry. Tokyo Games athletes ordered to avoid restaurants serving alcohol. Boxer hopes games will be piece of cake. This is someone she talked to the Duke of Cambridge. Boat migrants land on beach and run. Well, wouldn't you? I did not have my husband killed for cash, says a woman. A widow accused of organising her husband's murder in Ukraine while celebrating their first wedding anniversary told an inquest yesterday she would have been better off financially with him alive. My I did not kill my husband for cash t-shirt is raising questions already answered by my I did not kill my husband for cash t-shirt. Motorist is cleared in murder trial. Driver accused of murdering a woman who was crushed under his car and attacking her husband after a minor collision pumped his fist after a jury cleared him. Dambuster Squadron's last pilot dies at 100. MPs criticised Cameron for lack of judgment on green cell lobbying. You or I, it would be corruption, but with him it's just lack of judgment. Slinkermeyer says, I really appreciate every time you come across Quentin Lett's column, you just say Quentin Letts is awful. It's not worth covering any more than that. He's really horrible. FA names peer-to-head inquiry into chaos at Wembley final. Football Association appointed Baroness Casey of Blackstock to lead an investigation into the disgraceful scenes at the Euro 2020 final. I'm told that they are really only having this inquiry because they think it may help them actually still be in for a chance of getting the World Cup in 2030. I think it's still very unlikely. Chronosome says the story from Series 1 of the original Robot Wars where a loose bit of robot almost hit Jeremy Clarkson. Sliding doors moments, eh? Right, moving on. Drinking coffee can reduce the risk of irregular heartbeat. Great. Wild boars pose greater climate risk than 1 million cars. Don't care, I'm still team wild boar. Get rid of the million cars. Mothers call for allergy czar to prevent other teenagers dying. I call for an allergy commissar. Clinton turned down tea with the Queen and jam with Blair. He didn't want to play saxophone with Blair and he didn't want tea with the Queen. One of his good decisions, unlike becoming a frequent flyer on the Lolita Express with Jeffrey Epstein. Millennium Dome was nearly Diana Children's Hospital's. Minister were advised to turn the Millennium Dome project into a children's hospital named after Diana, Princess of Wales, as a controversial scene came close to being dropped by the Labour government. This is all releases from the National Archive. Donald Trump was desperate to meet her. Joe Biden has been US president for less than 5 months when he called in on her at Windsor Castle. But when Bill Clinton paid an official visit to Britain in 1997, he turned down an invitation to have tea with the Queen at Buckingham Palace. The Queen let it be known that she would be happy to entertain the president when he visited Tony Blair 4 years after Labour's landslide victory in 4 weeks after Labour's landslide victory in May. However, Clinton declined the invitation. Instead, he said he wanted to be like a tourist in London and set his sights on having a curry with Blair and wife Cherie. This is one of the most cursed 90s pictures I've seen in a long time. Chronotherm says, never eaten a VW Passat, but I bet Wild Boar is better. Bablo Bonzo says the Queen was just simply too old for Clinton. It's headline on page 22, how decolonialization starts a culture war. I retweeted a tweet earlier that made the right point here. Colonialization started a culture war. Half of mentally ill children lack care. More than half of children with mental illnesses do not receive inadequate care in wealthy countries, including Britain, according to an international study. Imagine if we put the money wasted in to trying to put Jeff Bezos into space, into stuff like this. But it'll never happen. Pretty sure colonialism started several wars and a lot of genocide. Agreed, yes. The real culture war, the one with guns. Just add milk and £200 for Scots tea. The tasting notes bring to mind Scotland's most famous product, golden smooth and with sweet notes of dried fruits. It sounds like an exquisite single malt whiskey, but it in fact is the latest luxury drink from north of the border. 100% Scottish tea grown by 9 women in their gardens. Okay. An asthmatic teacher has won £78,000 over dismissal. An asthmatic drama teacher who claimed that her employees had failed to prevent the use of aerosols at school has been awarded £78,000 in compensation. Alison Grant Ryder, 62, from Penley Wrexham, had fought an employment tribunal action with the support of the NAS UWT union against Mailer School in the town. Grant Ryder, who began working at school in 1991, had been diagnosed with late onset asthma after developing symptoms in late 2013 or 2014. She claimed working conditions contribute to or caused her ill health. Teacher took time off work because of her asthma in 2019, but she was fired by the governors at Mailer at a comprehensive school because of her sickness record. An ambulance had been required when she suffered her first asthma attack at work. Anyway, the point, this once again, this is the Times misreporting or misfocusing on a employment tribunal case. In this case, it's about them not making appropriate adjustments to the workplace, rather than her simply complaining about deodorants. You know, although obviously a mass use of aerosols around a severely asthmatic person is going to be a huge issue. In the comments section, the real danger is insurgency on the right, says William Hague. One of those times when he makes the correct diagnosis for all the wrong reasons. Melanie Phillips is awful. Best referred to as Anders Breivik's favourite columnist, and we're not going to bother with her talking about the Olympic ideal going down in flames. There's a section of Matt Chorley's column, Matt Chorley, that's what you call him, Matt Chorley and Chorley. Matt Chorley, yeah. Column that I want to read you today because it fucked me off at a level that even I, regularly fucked off by the papers, do not usually get. So he writes, so now cinemas can reopen at full capacity, not that you'll notice. The last time we were the only couple there, 2 people in a 350-seater. A popcorn monkey came in with her little night vision goggles to check, presumably that we weren't filming Anthony Hopkins going dotty, and then psht, a squirt on a cloth, which she ran up and down the full length of the banister, along the back row and down the banister on the other side. 3 times this performance went on. It was very distracting. We could barely concentrate on licking the armrests. Popcorn monkey. Popcorn. Not only that, popcorn monkey, but as someone mentioned on Twitter, and when I tweeted about this, also the description of Anthony Hopkins' character in that film, who has Alzheimer's, as going dotty. Written in jest, of course, but it shows you, I think it shows a mindset of a certain sort of person towards people in the service industry. Absolute popcorn monkey. Horrible. Hugo Rifkin writes, voters won't forget this disdain for the rules. Bet you they do. In the birthdays today, Sandra Oh, known for Killing Eve, amongst many other things, including, what was she in? The hospital drama. That big hospital drama. Anyway, it'll come back to me. But anyway, she's 50. Andrew Bell, Chief Executive of the Witten Investment Trust, is 66. Nicola Benedetti, the classical violinist, is 34. Giselle Bundchen, the supermodel, is 41. Yes, Grey's Anatomy, thank you, Chronotherm. Paul Cook, the drummer in the Sex Pistols, is 65. Jacques Delors, President of the European Commission until 1995, is 96. Desmond Douglas, the 11-time English table tennis champion, is 66. Sally Ann Howes, the actress from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, is 91. Ellie Downey, the artistic gymnast, the first British gymnast to win all-round gold at the big international championship, the European Championships, in 22. Sorry, she did that in 2017. Roger Hunt, the footballer for Liverpool until 1969, member of the 1966 World Cup winning England team, is 83. Ronan Keane, Chief Justice of Ireland, is 89. Sir Edward Lee, the Conservative MP for Gainsborough, is 71. John Lodge, bass guitarist and singer in the Moody Blues, is 76. Charlie Magri, the former flyweight boxer and winner of the WBC European and British champion titles, is 65. Eamon Maher, the Professor of Medical Genetics and Genomic Medicine at the University of Cambridge, is 65. Cormac McCarthy, the novelist known for books including No Country for Old Men, is 88. Bruce Parker, Blood Meridian's my favourite of his books, by the way. Bruce Parker, broadcaster, presenter of the pilot episode of Antiques Roadshow, is 80. Lord Peter Palumbo, chairman of the Arts Council until 1994, is 86. Nguyen Wan Phuc, the Prime Minister of Vietnam, is 67. Jeff Rawle, the actor from Drop the Dead Donkey, amongst other things, is 70. Julian Rhind-Tutt, the actor from Green Wing, among other things, is 53. Carlos Santana, the guitarist and rock musician, is 74. Viscount Jan Simon, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Lords, is 81. Derek Thomas, the Conservative MP for St Ives, is 49. Makoto Uchida, the President and Chief Executive of Nissan, is 55. In 1881, Tatananka Ayotanka, known to much of the world as Sitting Bull, a leader of the 1876 Sioux Uprising, surrendered to the US Army. And the last word today goes to Ernest Hemingway, the US writer in A Farewell to Arms. The world breaks everyone, and afterwards many are strong at the broken places, but those that will not break it kills. It kills the very good and the very gentle and the very brave impartially. If you are none of these, you can be sure it will kill you too, but there will be no special hurry. Professor David Manning writes in the letters, Sir, I fully agree with Rose Hogan's letter about overeating. It is indeed an appalling habit. In order to avoid such behaviour, I've always applied the Miss Piggy dictum of never eat more than you can lift. Farage's fuckface says the Gape cast ref to Gales being the judge from Blood Meridian, Gape's being the judge from Blood Meridian, if I recall. Just walked past a guy from Game of Thrones in Newcastle, the one who was in Johnny Vegas's Ideal. Sorry for the randomness of that. That's pretty good. Ronan Keating is not the Chief Justice of Ireland. President calls off his visit to Japan after lewd insult. South Korea's president has cancelled a meeting with the Japanese Prime Minister after Tokyo's deputy ambassador to Seoul dismissed his efforts to improve ties as masturbating. Well, there's some excellent...
Shimmy past.
Did you? Why did you shimmy past?
Because I thought I would shimmy past.
Oh, okay, good shimmying.
There you go. Look at that. I got very focused.
You look. It's good. You know I'm trying to finish the show before your meeting.
Fine.
They look good. Kabul puts diplomats out of Pakistan over attack on ambassador's daughter. Ramaphosa accuses Zuma allies of igniting violence in South Africa. Haiti's PM resigns for rival favoured by dead president. Twitter bans sadistic bullfighting images. Good. Beethoven, the tyrant hater, was one of us, say the Catalans. Controller's verbal slip put jets on a collision course over Paris. Slip of the tongue by an air traffic controller put a United Airlines jet on course to collide with an EasyJet Airbus seconds before aborting its landing at Paris, an official report revealed. Disaster was averted when the pilots of the EasyJet plane saw the United Boeing 787 bearing down on their runway less than 300 feet off the ground as they prepared to take off, according to the Bureau of Inquiry and Analysis, the Air Accident Investigation Branch. On July 20th last year, the tower controller told the United flight from Newark, New Jersey, which was carrying 73 people, that it was clear to land on runway 09 right at Charles de Gaulle Airport. The jet was low on the approach to runway 09 left, but the pilots assumed they were being told to sidestep to the right. The United co-pilot responded asking for confirmation with an English expression not grasped by the controller, using the word understand rather than the word confirm. Use of weapons says, I've done bull running, never been so sober so quickly. Chronotherm says, tell person in the room they have a great t-shirt on. Yeah, we both have that t-shirt. I have the grey version, she has the black version. They both came from Seattle, where person in the room went on a trip. Good afternoon, Mark Kenosis, and yes, happy birthday to Cormac McCarthy. On the front page of the Times 2, see you on the dance floor, my wild night clubbing with strangers, writes Hannah Rogers. Give a fuck, honestly. In the business, Patrick Hoskin writes, real or not, it's the fear of inflation that can halt the economic charge. Fear. BP's £10 billion wind farm plan to turn Granite City green. That is in the sea off Scotland. The stage is set for Broadway's post-COVID comeback, they claim. And in the obituaries, John Woodcock, Times cricket correspondent, considered one of the finest writers in the history of the game, has died. He was 94, and because he was a Times journalist, he gets a double-page spread of an obit. Rare, that one. No other obituaries, just his. There are ads for cruises. In the sport, this is great F1 rivalry, but it risks becoming dangerous, writes Rebecca Clancy. Brailsford learning the hard way, writes David Walsh, about the Tour de France. His life was blessed, enriched by cricket and community, writes Mike Atherton, with another double-page spread on John Woodcock, the cricket correspondent for the Times for 43 years, who's died aged 94. And on the back page of the sport... Oh, sorry, the vault so dangerous, only Biles dares to try it. Yes, Simone Biles, a phenomenal athlete in almost every possible way, is going to do a move called the Yurchenko double pike. They have a diagram of how that's done, and apparently, yes, it is so dangerous, only she is willing to try and do it. It was inspired by the Russian gymnast Natalia Yurchenko. When Natalia Yurchenko watched the video of Simone Biles from the US Classic competition in Indianapolis in May, she almost cried tears of joy. Biles had completed a skill that had never been performed by a female gymnast in competition, using it as a basis, a skill that bore the Russian's name, a Yurchenko double pike. I was dreaming about seeing it, Yurchenko said. You create something and you wait for the future generation to use it. It was just so amazing. Fans watch Biles take the floor in the Olympics over the coming days. Maybe also be dreaming of seeing it once more. The scare caused by blah, blah, blah. She's not the only star attraction For her compatriots, she is a poster girl for the entire games, and the recent hype over her latest skill proved it. When she debuted the Yurchenko double pike in Indianapolis, the video went viral on social media, clocking up more than 5 million views. This is a different type of nerve, she said beforehand in the episode of her Facebook Watch series, Simone vs. Herself, which was posted last week, because it is such a high-risk vault. Fraction of a miscalculation could have snapped one of her bones clean in two, or worse. In fact, even just a fraction of the skill, its basis, the Yurchenko, was once considered so dangerous that its namesake recalls attracting controversy when she first showcased it. Hey, Grand Raven, you just logged on and saw Farage ruined your day. Sorry about that. Well, there you go. Read the newsletter, that'll cheer you up. It's full of jokes on about him. And on the back page of the Times, GB athletes fear Tokyo COVID threat. The newsletter I just mentioned is my newsletter. You can get it at brokenbottleboy.substack.com. It's free to read, but if you enjoy it, there's a paid subscription that, you know, helps keep the wolf from the door. Okay, time for a quick roll call, and then we were gonna dash through the Guardian and smash our way through the Daily Mail. In the chat today, I am the Broken Bottle Boy. You can follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy. Also watching today, 3 Crates of Batman, excellent name, Academy Impossible, Achibis, another TT viewer, Ashflats, McNulty, Chris McRae, Commander Root, Yu-Gi-Oh! Everybody Loves Raymondo, Farage's Fuck Face Fryer, Bentos, Grand Raven, Chronotherm, Mark Canosis, Pablo Bonzo, Red Tick Seeds, Slinkmeyer, Cider Streams, Use of Weapons, Zippy Shavit, and Zoutar. You are all very welcome. Thank you for joining me on this swelteringly hot Tuesday. Right, now we're going to get on to the Guardian. The Guardian gets a... is in the lineup for the second day in a row today. Usually only an occasional feature because it can be fairly boring for our purposes, but it's the second day of its big investigation and expose on the use of Pegasus, the Israeli-built spy app, basically spy technology to break into mobile phones. Good afternoon, everybody loves Raymondo. Hope you're well. Yes. I'm really glad you enjoy the streams. Thank you for being here. It's really good. Okay, so front page of The Guardian. Top of the shop in the feature promo spot, capturing summer top photographers pick their favourite shots. But the bulk of the page is this the second day of the Pegasus project coverage. Attack on democracy, furious reaction to spying revelations. Politicians and activists demand action to outlaw use of surveillance tool. And they've got an interview with Edward Snowden who says, if you don't stop this, it's not going to be 50,000 targets, it's going to be 50 million. Mark Canosis says, if you ask me, we need a little less Pegasus and a little more pegging us. Very good, Mark. Right, inside the bottom of the front page, PM reveals jab certificates we needed to enter nightclubs. Story that's all over the rest of the press. Key rival to Modi among potential targets of NSO. Gangadeep Kang, the first Indian woman to be accepted into the Royal Society, was a potential target. Israel's selection of Indian numbers started days before Modi's 27 trip to meet Benjamin Netanyahu. NSO Group says that it does not have access to the data it customers targets. Through its lawyers, NSO said the consortium has made incorrect assumptions about which clients use the company's technology. It said that 50,000 was an exaggeration and that the list could not be a list of numbers targeted by governments using Pegasus. The lawyers said NSO had a reason to believe that the list accessed by the consortium is not a list of numbers targeted by governments using Pegasus, but instead may be part of a larger list of numbers that might have been used by NSO Group customers for other purposes. After further questions, the lawyers said the consortium was basing its findings, the consortium is the group of newspapers who've reported on this, on misleading interpretations of leaked data from accessible and overt basic information such as HLR lookup services, which have no bearing on the list of the customers' targets of Pegasus or any other NSO products. We still do not see any correlation of these lists to anything related to the use of NSO Group technologies. Well, they would say that, wouldn't they? Right, moving on. Numbers of Mexican presidents in a circle, including data leak. Enrique Pena Nieto, former Mexican president, rose to power in 2012, but became tarnished by scandals. Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, the president of Mexico, founder of the Morena Party, was targeted by NSO clients. Edward Snowden says this is an industry that should not exist. If they find a way to hack one iPhone, they found a way to hack them all. Umar Khalid, the Indian student activist, was selected before a possible targeting in late 2018. Also targeted Lujain al-Hathlul, the Saudi women's rights activist, and Joseph Braham, the French human rights lawyer. Daughter of Hotel Rwanda activist was a victim of surveillance. How does the iPhone maker's technology hold up against NSO's group spyware? Right, Stephanie Kirch-Geisner and Alex Hearn. Most experts agree that the iPhone's greatest vulnerability is also one of its most popular features, iMessage. Some believe a closed culture has harmed its ability to provide security for those targeted. Possibly. Moving on from that coverage, ministers examining national insurance rise to fund social care. We've covered that story. Prince Harry's memoirs will be honest and captivating, says publisher. Well, they would say that, wouldn't they? Raab accuses China over huge Microsoft cyber sabotage. Britain has joined with the US and other allies in formally accusing Chinese state-backed hacking groups of being behind the exploitation of an estimated 250,000 Microsoft Exchange servers earlier this year. I have no doubt of it. However, the British state and the US state are regularly involved in state-sponsored hacking. So, you know, it's kind of par for the course, isn't it? Search my name, Mick Wright, and Stuxnet to see writing I did years ago on the creation of Stuxnet, a cyber weapon used to destroy centrifuges in the Iranian nuclear program, which was most likely an effort done by the US, UK, and Israeli intelligence services. Packham wants his ashes to be scattered with his dogs. Yeah, seems reasonable. They're very cute dogs. Use of weapons says, this is why I use a Nokia 3310 to do all my illegal activities, such as planting bombs on Bezos' rocket in a Minecraft simulation. Red Tick says USA should simply take the log out of its own eye before pointing out the dust in others. Yeah. PM reveals vaccination certificates will be needed to enter clubs. We know that. Cummings, PM didn't buy NHS overwhelmed stuff. Not just Cummings saying that. We've seen the WhatsApp screenshots of the Prime Minister saying it. Aubrey Allegretti says Johnson faces backlash over jab passports. They keep saying this. Oh, it's the last straw this time. He won't get away with it this time. Bet he does. Pablo Bonzo says, what if he dies before his dogs do? Well, they can be scattered with his ashes, I guess. An anonymous doctor writes, I feel so angry. Here in the wards, it is clear that the pandemic is far from over. COVID has shut down Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cinderella musical. At last, a positive from COVID. Bill Clinton declined tea with the Queen and jam session with Blair. They cover the National Archives releases in the same way that the Times does, and plan to use London's site for tribute to Diana. It's almost like the National Archives seeds them with these stories to distract them from other releases from the National Archives that might actually be more interesting if journalists had the time to look through them or the inclination. Monumental failure. German alert system under fire after flash floods. Nigerian TV stations told to limit reporting on security issues. Excessive French minister condemns new restrictions on travellers to Britain. Counting the days, heartbreak and hope for Irish pubs. In the opinion columns, Polly Toynbee says Boris's U-turn tells us that the virus is everywhere. I don't think we needed him to do that to tell us that. And Duncan Campbell, two separate journalists, write, Duncan Campbell, 1, an investigative journalist specialising in civil liberties and surveillance, and Duncan Campbell, 2, the former Guardian crime correspondent, writes, whistleblowers and journalists could soon be treated like spies. This is under plans by Priti Patel's Home Office to reframe the Official Secrets Act and make it much more difficult for journalists to work with whistleblowers. Some journalists will go to prison. More journalists will go to prison if that comes to be. Laurent Richard and Sandrine Rigaud say an attack on democracy via your phone. They are the founder and director of Forbidden Stories and the editor-in-chief of Forbidden Stories, writing about the Pegasus project. Seeking asylum makes you feel self-conscious about your very existence, says Zarlasht Halamzai, who fled from Afghanistan as a child, arrived in Britain after a harrowing journey, We thought we could start our new life in safety, but the reality was very different. It's today's long read. It is a good long read. In the G2 Summer Photography Special, and Zoe Williams writes, when I take on an intern, I wonder who is teaching whom. Fuck off. Some of the photos are amazing. I'd look up that online if you're interested, including Latvian Midsummer by Espen Rasmussen, which kind of makes me think of some of Slinker Meyer's work. Red Tick Seed says, I would ask the former candidate for the SDP to please shut the fuck up, Polly Toynbee. There's a very good picture by Lauren Witherow in here. Again, reminds me of some of Slinker Meyer's work, but I can't show it on stream because it would be a violation of the terms of service. But it's called Pregnant Friend 2017 by Lauren Witherow. If you want to see that photo, it's a particularly good one. In the TV review, In Treatment on HBO gets 3 stars from Lucy Mangan. Their recommendation for tonight is Uprising, 9 p.m, BBC One. Following his documentary Subnormal on the segregation of black pupils deemed educationally subnormal in the 60s and 70s, the director Steve McQueen brings this 3-part examination of the events that took place in Britain in 1981. New Cross Fire, which killed 13 black teenagers, the Black People's Day of Action, which saw 20,000 people protest, and the Brixton Riots, co-directed by James Rogan. We follow how these events affected racial attitudes in Britain for a generation. Unmissable one there. Slinker Meyer, I'm apparently all about violating the terms of service. Fuck those terms of service. In the corrections and clarifications, a quick crossword clue: should not have described penguins and turtles as mammals. They are birds and reptiles, respectively. That's a bit of a fuck up, isn't it? A feature suggested Bernard Sadow invented the wheelie suitcase in 1972. Clarify, this was the year it was patented, 2 years after he unscrewed forecasters from a wardrobe and fixed them to a suitcase. Jeez, it took that long. 1972. In the obituaries, Tom O'Connor, comedian and quiz show host, propelled to started by winning Opportunity Knox, and Ronald Cresswell, pharmaceutical group head of development, who brought a string of vital jobs to the market. In the world news, it's happening, it's chilling. Republican fight back against Biden's pledge to restore the soul of America. Man sentenced to 8 months jail for Capitol Hill riot in benchmark ruling. In Haiti, toxic mix of gangs, guns and foreign meddling. Very racially charged reporting. Financial news. FTSE 100 index in 44 billion tumble as global stock markets fall amid COVID pessimism. The Uber for Snake emergencies, apps to help save humans and wildlife in India. Basically, it allows you to report a snake or get a snake identified, or report a snake bite. Imagine them getting threatening visits from penguins and turtles. Fashion Choice says, get to the Daily Star. I'm not covering the Daily Star today. I only got 4 papers today, but I'll do the Star tomorrow. And in the sport, Olympic fear, athletes isolation spreads panic through Team GB, and health issues may force Brailsford to step down. Give me your reviews for The Guardian. Mark just thought I was going to say, get a snake delivered to you. Yes, a snake delivery asp. Right, and now we move on finally to the Daily Mail. We're going to finish in good time, I hope. Chronotherm thought it was a taxi service for snakes. Even better. Right, here we go. Here is the Daily Mail. They're promising you could get a free Alan Titchmarsh ebook. Sounds more like... What's that? Alan Titwank. Sounds more like a punishment than a promotion. After Oprah, Netflix show and podcast, now privacy-loving Harry to publish intimate memoir. I fucking hate this shit, right? Privacy means being able to choose what you reveal about yourself, right? It does not mean that you never wish to reveal anything you want to say. You never want to reveal anything about yourself. Someone writing a memoir does not mean that the tabloids are justified in going through their bins. Chronotherm says, why does Person in the Room have dirty nicknames for so many celebrities?
I'm just a pervert.
She says she's just a pervert. Fair dues. Elsewhere on that front page, Liberty Day 1 and Boris U-turns over proof of vaccines for nightclubs and crowded venues. Price of freedom, You will need jab passport. And on the right-hand side, Pingderella. Another bad ping pun. Lloyd Webber forced to close £6 million show. I weep no tears for Andrew Lloyd Webber, who flew in from America to vote for benefit cuts. On page 5, Royals face yet more pain over Harry's tell-all book. You told him to go and make his own money, so that's what he's doing. Fuck off. And on the bottom of that page, Premier League player is held over child sex claims. Of course, they're not naming the player, but, you know, they are making sure that they mention that it was Greater Manchester Police who made a statement that the arrest hadn't been made. So that narrows it down, doesn't it? Particularly as they include the age of the player, etc. Slinker Meyer says Andrew Lloyd Webber can go fuck himself. And we are very much a Andrew Lloyd Webber can go fuck himself stream. On pages 4 and 5, PM's panic on the dance floor. As person in the room said earlier, it could have been PM's panic about the disco, but, you know, it's all about what generation is writing these headlines. More key staff spared isolation is the story on pages 6 and 7. Outrage at staggering hidden cost of travel tests. Cummings, I warned Boris he would give COVID to the Queen. I believe that, to be honest. Use of weapons says it's somebody who plays for somebody. I can't say it on the chat. I can't say it out loud on stream for the very reasons that the papers can't report it either. But it's there. On page 15, it's Naomi Pramble at Model Mum. A completely unnecessary picture of Naomi Campbell pushing a pram with her child in it. 7 drowned trying to cool off in scorcher alerts issued as Britain bakes in 88 Fahrenheit heat. Yet again, we're back with this fucking bullshit, quoting the temperatures in Fahrenheit. The campaign to return us to the brain-meltingly annoying imperial measurements continues. On pages 16 and 17, on page 17, Love Island and Ain't, a reality show about an M6 service station, has trounced Wimbledon in the ratings. But then T-Bay is the pit stop that serves smiles by the gallon. Little John is awful. It's too hot to deal with Richard Littlejohn. Cameron wrapped by MPs for lack of judgment in lobbying scandal. We all knew he was only going to get a slap on the wrist. Hey, SK Crusader, how are you doing? On page 25, Olympic divers who fell head over heels for each other. I'm sure the Daily Mail will find a way eventually to ruin their relationship. On pages 26 and 27, the Daily Mail retells a very old story about John Lemesureur's wife having an affair with Tony Hancock. She's just died at age 90. She could have never foreseen the tragedy that struck when she went back to her husband, i.e. Tony Hancock, taking his own life. Once again, it doesn't matter how long ago you're talking about someone taking their own life. Attributing it to one reason and one reason alone is completely wrong. It's against the guidelines, etc., etc. On pages 30 and 31, the Daily Mail gets around to getting its own spin on the Guardian's revelations. From iPhone to spy phone starts with an innocent message. It could end with your intimate secrets stolen by some of the world's most sinister regimes. And guess who's on the payroll of the tech firm behind it? Sherry Blair. Mark Nosis says, didn't watch the T-Bay documentary, but I love Services so much. Yeah, it's a good Services. The Daily Mail does want us to return to the 70s. Exactly. Just reading that Labour is broke because Keith spent it all on Blair and Kinnock Funko Pops. Yes, Mark Kenosis says use of weapons. Mark Kenosis is right. Keith spent it all on loot crates. July 20th, 2021 on this day. Well, on this day, in 1955, the Daily Mail wrote, Teddy boys at Hastings are setting a new fashion by bleaching their hair. Groups appeared in local bars and dance halls last night as blondes. One said, soon all Hastings Teddy boys will be as blonde as I am. July 20th, 1966. Britain's first mass-produced colour TV set will go into production next year. It will cost about £260, says Pi, the makers. Happy birthday to Nicola Benedetti, 34, the violinist from Ayrshire, started playing at 4 and by 10 was studying at the Yehudi Menuhin School in Surrey. She was named BBC Young Musician of the Year, age 16. And happy birthday to Carlos Santana, 74, Mexican guitarist and rock musician who found fame with his band Santana. Also born on this day, Dame Diana Rigg, who died in 2020. The actress from Yorkshire played Emma Peel, and as many other things, including Olenna Tyrell in Game of Thrones. And also born on this day in 1919, Sir Edmund Hillary, the mountaineer from New Zealand, was the first person alongside Tenzing Norgay to conquer Mount Everest. No, Tenzing Norgay, I hate this stuff. Tenzing Norgay and him were equal first, weren't they? At best and at worst. And at best, Tenzing Norgay and others who are from Nepal actually got there first. Right, elsewhere. On July 20th in 1944, a plan to kill Adolf Hitler failed when a bomb planted in a briefcase by Lieutenant Colonel Klaus Schenk von Stauffenberg went off, but only inflicted minor injuries on the Nazi leader. And in 2005, James Blunt was enjoying his first and today only #1 with You're Beautiful. It won an Ivor Novello Award, but was also voted one of the 10 most annoying songs in a magazine poll. Quote of the day comes from Joseph Hodges Choate, a US lawyer who died in 1917. There are two kinds of lawyers, one who knows the law, the other who knows the judge. Joke of the day. What do you say to a rabbit on its birthday? Hoppy birthday. Yes. Right, moving on. Lara Stone exchanged vows with David. When Lara Stone exchanged vows with David Williams, their wedding at Claridge's Hotel was attended by Matt Lucas, Sir Elton John, Stephen Fry, and designer Tom Ford. At the weekend, the Dutch supermodel got married again 6 years after a divorce from Britain's Got Talent judge, and her second wedding was a less glitzy affair. Stone, 37, tied a knot with property developer David Griegson, 40, at the Town Hall in Hungerford, Berkshire. I got to marry my love, gushes the Calvin Klein model who wore traditional white. She and Griegson, who live in North London, became engaged in February last year, 2 years after meeting on Tinder, which the Daily Mail describes as the hookup app Tinder. In the good health section, food allergies took our darling daughters from us. We must act now before others suffer the same fate. Seems fair enough. They rate a load of different ice creams, which are apparently healthy for you. They're not really. Person in the room is passing again. Is the pill safe enough to buy over the counter? Yeah, probably. Lucy Elkins visited the Cambridge hub that's just achieved a breakthrough that could transform medicine and reveals how organoids, from a heart the size of a sesame seed to a tiny bile duct, are making sci-fi a reality. Sci-fi a reality. In the TV reviews, Taken, Hunting the Sex Trackers gets 2 stars. Killing Escobar gets 4. In the cartoons, Garfield says the only thing worse than a tofu burger is a tofu burger burp. In Chloe and Co, Chloe is talking to a man sitting down and drinking. And in Fred Bassett has met a nice cat that he's made friends with. Okay, in the straight to the point letters, David Fleming from Norfolk says, games have been... We can do without... Games have been played throughout this pandemic. We can do without a new one called Pingo. Right. Thank you, David. Alan Dignan, there's going to be a lot of ping puns here. Alan Dignan says, we should start calling this country the United Kingdom. David Lindsay says, in the case of aid to China, we are feeding the hand that bites us. G. Jarvis says, don't just react to your phone, take a test. Christopher Harper says, if the next Sage modelling fails to materialise, disband it. Rick Emerson says, the NHS COVID app lets you check into a venue but not out. Brilliant. Bob Proctor says, COVID, wildfires, fires, rising temperatures, floods, Euro 20. It's too hot. It's too hot.
Just pushed it there. There you go. Put the fan on instead.
No, because that's too loud.
Oh my god.
Euro 2020, we're doomed. How many license fee payers? I have to put up with other people's noise. How many license fee payers will it take to cover the BBC's Olympics coverage, says Pete Dickinson. And Arthur Jaggers of Abingdon, Oxford, says, is there a fraudeur between Richard Madeley and Susanna Reid on GMB? Pete Maller of Henley-on-Thames says, TV presenters should address their comments to the audience, not each other. And Colin Price says, Boris Johnson looks like a tramp who slept in the same suit for 12 months. Use of weapons says, throw all of East Anglia into the sea. No, please don't. Please don't.
No.
We live here. We like it. David Fleming from Norfolk says, Chronotherm. Mark Kenosis says, Fred is good. Fred is good. Today's poem, here we go. At Brighton Beach, the seagulls fly, they soar and circle in the sky. They swoop and steal the punters' chips amid the backdrop, sailing ships. And underneath the sun's sharp eye, the lockdown days have passed us by. Face down upon my towel I lie, my limbs burn red as bacon strips at Brighton Beach. A year ago the end was nigh, today I hear the joyous cry of freedom in the wind that whips about me as my sun-parched lips give silent thanks to God and high at Brighton Beach. And this comes to you from Paul A. Freeman of Abu Dhabi. And the limerick today from Robert Ben Nathan of Buckinghamshire. I've just had a marvellous idea for how we can get in the clear. Let's dip in our pocket for a massive rocket and all get the hell out of here. Please God. Today's recipe is barbecued sardines with chamula sauce. Seems nice. They're still trying to sell you various supplements. Ugly shorts, £40 for these ugly shorts. Buy £2 for 70. Two pairs for 70. Available in sky, stone, brick, navy, green, sand, royal and pink. Lovely county, Abu Dhabi, says use of weapons. And on the back page... in the sport, Premier League star in child sex arrest. And paranoia and panic in squad, say Chibi, athletes. That is the Daily Mail for today. For me, it's a double negative nice. Thank you for joining me today on this Tuesday show. I have been the Broken Bottle Boy. You can follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy. If you like this show and would like to support it, there's a couple of ways you can do that. Sign up for free to the newsletter, brokenbottleboy.substack.com, and oh god, as I pressed enter there, I noticed that I hadn't typed that correctly, so ignore that. brokenbottleboy.substack.com, and also consider chucking a few coins in the newspaper fund, paypal.me/conquest of the useless. And if you do, let me know what magazine you want done in the next magazine review, which is coming up on Friday. And the very last link for the day, a lot of links here, is to the Discord. If you enjoy this show and you enjoy the comedy stylings of such excellent chat members as Slinker Meyer, Mark Kenosis, Albert Camus, and SK the Crusader, join the Discord. The Discord is free to join, and here is here is the link for that. Boop. Cool. Okay, and that is our show for today. If you came in late or you want to rewatch anything, it'll be up on VOD after the show has ended, and also heading to YouTube later today. All of the shows go up on YouTube in an endless archive of horror. Right. For now, that's me. Catch me on Twitter or in the Discord, and I will see you tomorrow at 1 PM. And if you're watching us on YouTube, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Bye-bye for now.